My mother's toast lasted 5 minutes and ended with a joke at my expense. My toast lasted 3 minutes and ended with my real birth certificate on the wall behind her. We were sitting in the private dining room of a country club for my younger sister's rehearsal dinner. The champagne was flowing, the string quartet was playing, and my mother was doing what she does best. She was making me feel like garbage. She leaned over my plate and told me my dress looked like it came from a discount rack. It did not matter that I was the maid of honor. It did not matter that I paid for the dinner. For 28 years, I was the stain on her perfect family. Maya, my sister, was the golden child. When Maya got a C in high school, my mother bought her a car to cheer her up. When I graduated college with honors, my mother did not even show up. She said the campus was too far of a drive and the parking would ruin her shoes. I always wondered what was wrong with me. I spent thousands on therapy trying to figure out why my own mother looked at me with pure disgust. Last month, I finally got my answer. My father passed away unexpectedly in January. As the executor of his estate, I had to clean out his safe deposit box. I found a lot of boring tax documents, but at the very bottom, there was a sealed manila envelope with my name on it. I read the contents of that envelope in my car. It shattered my entire reality. Now, sitting at this fancy dinner, I watched my mother clink her glass. She stood up to give a toast. She spent 5 minutes crying about how proud she was of Maya. Then, she looked right at me and made a joke about how it was a miracle I managed to show up on time for once. A few people chuckled. Maya looked down at her lap. I stood up. I picked up my glass. I told everyone I had a few words to say as well. My mother immediately tried to sit me back down. She hissed under her breath that this was not the time to make a fool of myself. She told me to be quiet. I ignored her. I looked across the table and asked her if she wanted to tell everyone the real reason she hated me, or if she wanted me to do it. The room went dead silent. The clinking of silverware stopped. My mother gripped the edge of the table. She told me that if I ruined her daughter's special night, she would make sure I never spoke to any of them again. I told her that was a risk I was willing to take. I turned to the room. I explained how growing up, I was the scapegoat for everything. She threw away my college acceptance letters. She charged me rent the day I turned 18 while Maya got a limitless credit card. Maya started crying and asked me to stop. I looked at Maya and told her I was sorry, but this was decades overdue. Then I looked back at my mother. I told the entire room about the envelope. I told them about the original birth certificate. My mother lunged forward to grab my arm, but my fiancé stepped in front of her. I dropped the bomb. I told everyone that my mother's younger sister, Aunt Sarah, did not die in a tragic car accident before I was born. Aunt Sarah had an affair with my father. I was the product of that affair. Sarah died in childbirth. To avoid a scandal and keep her hands on my father's generational wealth, my mother agreed to raise me as her own. But instead of loving an innocent child, she used me as a daily punching bag to punish my dead aunt and my cowardly father. Every time she looked at me, she saw the ultimate betrayal, so she made me pay for it. Every single day of my life, people were gasping. My mother was shaking uncontrollably. She screamed that I was a liar and demanded that the staff throw me out. I reached into my clutch and pulled out a flash drive. I handed it to the wedding DJ who was setting up for the slideshow. I had paid him an extra $500 earlier that day. He plugged it in. The projector clicked on. My real birth certificate, listing Sarah as my mother, was projected onto the wall behind the head table. Next to it was the legal adoption agreement my mother signed, complete with a massive financial payout from my father. Maya stared at the wall, completely horrified. She looked at our mother, waiting for an explanation. My mother just stared at the floor. I was not done. I looked at Maya. I told her that our mother did not just hate me, she was also a thief. I explained that while I was digging through the estate documents, I found the ledgers for Maya's trust fund. The fund was completely empty. Our mother had drained it over the last 5 years to cover her mounting losses at the casino. She was banking on Maya marrying her wealthy fiancé, so she would never notice the missing money. Maya's fiancé stood up so fast, his chair crashed to the floor. He demanded to know if it was true. My mother collapsed back into her chair. She buried her face in her hands and started to sob. She did not deny a single word. She just sat there in the ruins of the perfect life she had faked for nearly 30 years. I felt a weight lift off my chest. I realized my mother's cruelty was never about my worth. It was about her own bitter, hollow soul. I set my champagne glass down on the table. I walked out of the dining room. I did not stay to watch the fallout. I just walked out to my car and drove away into the quiet night.